Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. Today I'm having a look at a MacBook Air that is not coming out of sleep mode properly. It's an intermittent fault, not sure what's causing it. You just open it up and it just doesn't wake up kind of thing. It should be off at the moment, whatever. Now I started doing a visual inspection on the inside and I heard a distinct rattle. And so I thought, let's turn on the camera and start taking this thing apart because I think there might be something interesting to see. So I'd already taken off the rear cover and there was nothing to see there. I think the rattle is in the hinges, so we're going to be taking the hinge assembly apart. And this is also a good opportunity to demonstrate adjustment on hinges and things like that, because based on other videos that seems to be quite a popular topic with these things. So let's take off the rest of these screws. This is a 5-point pentalobe screwdriver, 1.2mm, available on eBay, that I'm using to remove these screws. You can sometimes blag these screws out with a precision flathead screwdriver as well. So the battery on this laptop has been recently replaced, so it's possible that that is relating to the fault at hand, but I'm not going to address that right now. We're going to have a look at removing the display assembly and find out what that rattle is, because if that's something to do with the display connectivity, that would explain the issue as well. Now to get to that, we first need to disconnect the wires going to the display. So we've got the display connector here, we have the wireless antennas here that travel along the sides. I think they go both directions, one to each side, and the webcam connector there. So we're going to remove those cables and then we should be able to undo the bolts holding the display on and take the assembly away. These are T8 screws. I'm going to remove 4 of the screws and then we'll open the display to 90 degrees, which will give us the clearance we need to get the hinges out from under this overlap. Go. Right, so there's our body and we've got these 2 spacers here. These are just 2 shims that just come out from underneath, so we'll put those back in on reassembly. Right, now to open up this hinge, we're going to slide this cover to the right and then lift it off. So that's to the camera's left, sorry. Ah, there we go. There was a distinct notch when I gave it a shove then. Now I should just be able to lift that off. I need to be careful because I want to lift it up without pinching it, because if I pinch, it will grab hold of everything that's under the hinge. And I need to be a little bit careful because I'm not sure what's under here that might break at the moment. Certainly the wireless antennas are under here, so I need to watch out for those. I may not be able to very clearly show how this comes off just because of the jiggling that I'm having to do. There we go. Right, okay, that's slightly disappointing. Well, the rattling that I could hear were 2 completely loose screws. These 2 fellas here. Yeah, basically what's happening here is the... where's my 00? Here it is. This is the wireless antenna here. So this strip of plastic has got several strips of metal along the back of it. And those are the wireless antennas. And that has just come away from the display assembly where all these screws have worked themselves loose. So that's what the rattling was. Now, disappointingly, none of that is going to cause faults with the display or the laptop turning back on. So this is a red herring for the fault that I'm looking for. However, I can just screw these back in and I can also just tighten the hinges themselves, which was the other thing that I wanted to show you in this video. So let's just put these back in. Okay, I think that will do. Right, so the other point of interest now are the hinges themselves. And I can see the hinge if I just move the display cable out of the way slightly there. I can't move it entirely because the display cable on the MacBook Air actually goes through this hinge part. It's integral and cannot be removed. But now I can see here, you can see where that's wobbling there, and that just creates movement on the display assembly. So I'm just going to tighten those screws up. These are T8s again. Just give those a tweak. And that's now nice and solid. Alright, so now I'll just pull that cable straight again. And we will rinse and repeat for the other side. So again, I'm just going to pull these wires through slightly just to push them out of the way. This one feels fairly solid, but I'm just going to tweak the screws anyway, just for good measure. Just because it's such a pain in the backside to get to these screws, you may as well just tighten them a little bit further while you're there. Okay, that's done. So now we'll put this cover back on again, and there will be a straight side and a rounded side. The rounded side faces upwards toward the display, and the straight side goes along the back. And so now what we need to do, we just need to push this over the top of the antennas and just ensure that it's tucked in along the back nicely there and that none of the clips are sticking out. Remember to put it on offset because we're now going to slide it to the left. So we put it on, it's all nicely on there, and we just slide to the left. Like that. And that's it. That's done. So we've got to put this back on the laptop. And I'm just going to put a single screw in on each hinge just to hold everything in place. I'm not going to tighten it completely, just to allow the display to move a bit as I get all the adjustments in place. We can now close the screen and lay that down again. Okay, for the laptop's left-hand hinge, I've actually put this screw in the wrong place, so I'm just going to carefully hold everything steady while I move that to the other side. And now the wireless antennas, these come around and sit there. And we just need to make sure that those cables just tuck under that I/O board out of the way. And that little clamp just sits just under the board as well. I'm just going to bring in the other screws just to help guide it into place. Like that. That thread feels like it's crossing. I'm just going to have to put my hand in the way. There we go. And now we can just put the webcam cable in over the top. Okay, there's our wireless cables as well. Now we just need to move on to the right hand hinge and put in the extra screws for that. And there we have it. Okay, so at this point, that concludes the hinge section of this video. We've now made sure that all those hinges are tightened up, so any loose hinges have been dealt with. That rattle has now been sorted out, so the laptop is now quiet and doesn't shake. There are no moving parts apart from this tiny little fan here, so there shouldn't be any noises from this laptop at all. Now obviously for this particular one I've now got to sit down and solve the reason why it's not turning on and off properly, but I'm going to save that one for another video because it's no longer relevant to this one. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.